Well, Money, good evening.
G'day, Walter. How are you?
Yes, very good, mate. Thanks for joining us again. Now, we were going to be talking about financial independence for females.
Yep.
But I think maybe what we should be doing tonight is, we'll save that one over if that's okay.
Oh, mate, I'm all good, yeah.
You're good. You're very versatile like that.
Thanks, mate.
Yes.
All I've been
More
talking about
flexible
all
than
day
a
today
contortionist.
being the budget anyway, so why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about first the losers out of this budget. Now, the environment would have to be one of these, wouldn't it? Because there's no details of carbon tax yet, but we're expecting that in coming months.
Yes.
And that in itself is going to change the whole nature of the budget, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'd probably say so. It's going to be, the devil's going to be in the detail, I think. I think with regards to, and you know, I used a pretty popular example today of a standard family and what they're currently spending, and you know how I suppose the big question in the whole budget is a family that makes $150,000 today considered rich?
Yeah, that was one of the big questions coming out of this, wasn't it? And
yeah.
I don't think it is anymore, quite frankly.
5 years ago, not rich, but they would have been okay.
Yeah.
Today, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah,
you know, I'm not seeing it. I mean, you take the average person, let's say the average couple, let's say they've got, you know, $350,000 mortgage, which is pretty standard, okay? Food, $650, mortgage, $3,200, petrol about $150 to $200, health insurance about $280, $260, power $260. You add it all up, there's nothing left.
No.
And
this is for people who are pulling down 75 apiece.
Yeah. And let's add on to that the fact that with what happened in this budget, they're going to be paying extra power carbon tax, around about $300 a month, extra food carbon tax, $390, and extra carbon tax on their petrol, about $150 a month. Plus flood levies of $750, plus health insurance of around about $438 with the changes. So if they haven't got enough yet, now it's going to be harder. I suppose my whole thing is, was this considered when it was laid out that $150,000 isn't that, you know, aspirational, as they like to call it?
Yeah, aspirational. It's a nurse and a teacher living together, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And everyone's complaining about the same thing. Look, we polled our member base, and we've got over 90,000 in that, and the general response was everything's going up, wages aren't. And you know, and I'm not talking about people obviously in the 150. Even pretty much every class level is saying the same thing. It's because you get used to living to your means, but there's nothing to spare.
And I think Joe Hockey made an important point today when he said that the Labor government's not acting like a Labor government. It's creating class factions in Australia.
Yeah.
And that's what's happening when they start saying, oh, well, you know, if you earn $150,000 combined income or more, and there shouldn't be that. But there's no error. There's no room for being aspirational to go, as he said, from $30,000 a year to $150K when there's no incentive there.
Yeah. I'll tell you another scary aspect of this budget, particularly where we are at the moment. We've got a situation where, generally speaking, to be able to afford a house with that kind of mortgage, you need about $130 to $150K, otherwise the bank won't lend you the money.
Really? So
when you're in that situation, our currency at the moment is sky high. All indications seem to indicate that we're probably going to be in for around about a 1% increase in interest rates over the next year. And if you've got $350K in mortgage or $400 in mortgage, that's around about $3K extra.
That's going to hurt.
And that hasn't been targeted in, I don't think.
No.
I didn't think there was enough also for, you know what, for the exporters. They've been hit drastically because of the currency.
Especially with the dollar the way it is.
It's just killing them.
What is it today?
I think it's around about $1. I didn't see the last one, but you know, it's hovering close to 110. So.
Gee, that's high, isn't it?
It's scary, isn't it? I actually paid some bill. I've got a couple of we work with some people there in the States, and usually when they would send their bill, they would send it through PayPal. You know, the whole PayPal system. So they send it through there, and everything they said, it always comes in American dollars. So I always used to think, okay, we'll add on an extra 10-15%. And I was pleasantly surprised over the last few weeks because when they sent it out, I thought, my God, I'm actually paying less, which is really weird, you know.
I know for the first time in a long time.
And that's exactly what's hurting our manufacturing and everything at the moment.
Great for import.
Yeah.
Lousy for export.
Oh, absolutely. Take away that they don't have to pay the GST on the imports, etc. And we've got, you know, they're struggling. Yeah, there's a struggle point there. Now, so that should have been taken care of, I thought, a lot more.
Oh, yeah. The other losers, the sick. There's going to be a tougher criteria to get on the disability support pension now.
Yeah.
In some ways, I think that's not a bad thing, because I think there's a lot of people rorting that system. that go, oh, my back, and, well, no worse than my back, and I've got to go to work every damn day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The other one, defence, $1.1 billion not spent on new equipment being handed back to the government and civilian staff cut by 1,000. Now, I was talking to a professor last night from Griffith Uni. He said that's not such a bad thing because there's been a lot of money spent on the defence force, and they haven't really had not much in the area of cutbacks in recent budgets. So for once in their life, they are going to be seeing some money taken out of their till.
Look, I'll tell you my view on it. I'm not saying, I don't know enough about the defence side of things. I don't think it's a bad idea either. We've got a lot more important things to concentrate our cash in at the moment. We're in a really peculiar situation at the moment where we're being driven, and this whole budget's being driven by taxing the mining industry. So we've got a little nice run there. Unfortunately, the only people that are actually noticing the boom that we're having is Western Australia at the moment, because look at the rest of the country and most families are struggling at the moment.
Well, let's hope China doesn't have a hiccup.
Ooh, let's hope.
Hey?
Let's hope.
This whole thing is on a wing and a prayer budget on China, let's face it.
I had a look. I don't know if there was this show on actually. I like the documentaries that sometimes go on the SBS, and I saw one lately that was, I think it was SBS or Channel ABC, and it was about the China, that they're literally building entire towns in China, and there's no one in there. Literally, they're building entire cities, but no one can afford to get in there.
Oh, really? And
it's all because of, trying to keep the economic growth going.
Oh.
So they're sort of predicting in the future, and they're saying, look, they'll continue the economic growth no matter what. So they're like ghost towns, basically brand new cities.
Well, I heard when they were building their railway system, for the Olympics rather, when they were built, and they increased their railway system as part of that Olympic infrastructure, back when Beijing hosted it, that they would just take people, whole villages, and take all those people and relocate them to where the work was, near the railways and what have you. It was, that's how the Chinese operate. It's a very different thinking to here in Australia. We really do take our freedom for granted.
Great, yeah. 50% agree. Oh. Yeah. They just basically say, we're doing this, and everyone's just got to kind of agree with
Yes, sir, no, sir. 3 bags full, sir.
Yeah.
Now, families. The family tax benefits being cut off when children turn 21 instead of 24.
Yeah.
So that's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
That's on our loser list.
And there's also the HEX thing that came through as well. The cut in you used to get 20% discount if you paid for your HEX up front. I heard that's going to be reduced
down
to 10%.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's interesting for students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one that I actually didn't mind was the mental health system. They're actually spending more on that.
Yeah, we'll talk about the winners in a moment.
Yep.
There are a few, and mental health is definitely on the list on the winners side of the ledger, isn't it? Mm-hmm. With $1.5 billion in extra funding going there.
Well needed too.
Yeah, but this families thing, they reckon they're going to save $29.2 million over 4 years with this tax benefit cutting off at 21 instead of 24. Income tax. But the thing is, the kids are still at home. They're still a drain on mum and dad. At 24, aren't they?
I think they're going to be till 30 as the year goes on, mate.
Well, especially when the average price for a house is $350,000-$400,000.
Yeah.
I saw it advertised in one of the papers today. They showed 3 homes. One was the sort of dream home, one was the trade up to home, and the other one was the starter kit. And it was $400,000 for and it was just a little old house like mine. In not too far from me, a couple of suburbs away from my place. And I thought, wow. So I've got the starter kit home, which is nice to know at my age. Anyway, now they're also talking about income tests for family tax benefits, baby bonus, paid parental leave maintained. So that's on the negative side of the ledger. Company car owners too, they're going to cut the fringe benefits tax, the FBT concessions for salary sacrifice cars.
Yeah.
There is a positive to that, and we'll get to that in a moment, isn't there?
It's nothing to write home about.
No.
I think that, look, one of the things that I actually found very interesting about this, I didn't think this budget was sold very well, the Labor government, and when I looked at it, they could have sold, they normally would have sold what they did a lot better, and don't get me wrong, I didn't think there was that much to sell.
Well, Wayne Swan's not the greatest salesman, is he?
Yeah.
Would you buy a used car from him?
No.
No,
absolutely not, yeah.
Mind you, after this, that's what he might be doing for a living.
Yeah.
And moving on from cars, the public service. They're talking about increasing efficiencies. That means jobs cutting. That's a saving of $1.1 billion. Asylum seekers. Now, they're telling us, the spin doctors are telling us that this is the loser side of the ledger. I don't know about that because, this whole swap program with Malaysia to stop the flood of boats, we're doing the 1 for 5 deal or something that we're doing with Malaysia. I can't see the benefits in that. Also, GPs, the Medicare rebate for GPs is being reduced for mental health treatments. That's interesting. And finally, dentists. They're talking about delays and serious reform on dental health care due to a lack of funds as well. So that's our losers list tonight. We'll have a look at the winners after this break. How about that?
Yeah, sounds good, mate.
All right. And Wilson Luna's discussing all this with us tonight. And Your Family, Your Money. He's also on the web at all the W's, yourfamilyyourmoney.com.
This is 4BC. Your calls, your city, your station.
On Brisbane's own.
1116 4BC now.
Hello. Frank Walker from National Tiles. This week at National Tiles, we've got fabulous Australian-made internal and external floor tiles from just $9.95 per square metre. Yes, until this Sunday only at National Tiles, you can buy Australian-made internal and external floor tiles from just $9.95 per square metre. But only until this Sunday. National Tiles. Take Exit 23 Pacific Motorway. We're just north of IKEA.
The next advertisement contains a message that can only be heard on the radio. Therefore, only those who are at work, at home, online, on a horse, in a car, or those running, cycling, or parachuting can hear it. And they'll listen. Because, on average, people are 32% more engaged with their favourite radio station than they are with other media content. If you wish it were your brand they're about to hear from, go to commercialradio.com.au. People listen to radio advertising.
Saying goodbye to someone dear should be a time to honour the life and love you shared.
Bill was the practical one. He always said, no sense putting things off. I'm so glad we pre-planned his funeral with Alex Gale. Their free planning guide made it all so easy. And having a family-owned company care for our family made everything just so comfortable.
More than a century of care through all generations. It's our family's heritage at Alex Gale Funerals.
Alex Gale.
Are you concerned about the smell in the water or the sour taste after it rains? A reverse osmosis system from Aquafresh can remove almost 100% of the nasties found in tap water, including fluoride and offensive odours and tastes. If you're building, renovating, or simply wish to add a water filter, now is the perfect time to get your water purification system. You can have clean, safe water literally on tap 24 hours a day. Buy a filter or be a filter. See Aquafresh today. Visit aquafresh.com.au.
When you're anxious, you want relief, but you don't want to be tranquilized and groggy. Now there's a new naturally derived anxiety remedy called Anxiety Aid, which could be just what you need. Anxiety Aid is designed to help calm you down without dulling your senses. If you would like help to relieve your anxiety, try Anxiety Aid today. Come on, buy Australian. New Anxiety Aid is available from leading health stores and pharmacies. Always read the label. Use only as directed. If symptoms persist, see your healthcare professional.
Hi, Loretta Ryan here. I love to travel, and Harvey World Travel Carindale, Forest Lake and Loganholme are experts at putting together fabulous travel packages, like their fully escorted 22-day Kenyan safari. Visit an elephant orphanage, game reserve and giraffe centre and experience African culture and traditions on the journey of a lifetime. Find out more about the Kenyan safari. Call Layla at Harvey World Travel Forest Lake, 327 99 144. That's 327 99 144.
If you're dealing with property settlement due to a relationship breakdown, you need specialist legal advice. Hall Payne Lawyers has a team of family law specialists who will finalise your property settlement as quickly and amicably as possible. So for specialist family and de facto law legal advice, call Hall Payne Lawyers on 3221 2044. Hall Payne Lawyers, 3221 2044.
They're the hottest tickets in town.
All right, we're seeing another miracle.
And you can win
find them during Sports Today on 4BC. The mighty Maroons begin their quest for 6 series wins in a row, with Game 1 at Suncorp on the 25th.
Register at 4bc.com.au.
Then join Peter Pasoldis from 6pm all next week to hear if you're a winner of the sold-out tickets. Origin Game 1. Be there. Thanks to Brisbane's own 1116, 4BC.
Love to be there for Origin Game 1. Wilson Luna, you a NRL fan of State of Origin?
Absolutely, mate.
Great.
I'm on the opposite side, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're wearing the Blues jumper, aren't you?
Absolutely, mate.
Yeah.
I reckon you guys will do us in this year as well, to be honest.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think
bit of a no-brainer, I think.
Yeah, it's just going to be like 6 in a row. Sorry.
No, mate, I won't even watch it. It's too painful at the moment.
Exactly. Now, tonight we're talking with you about winners and losers out of this budget. We've already discussed some of the losers. Let's have a look at the positive side of this now. Who are the winners? Now, let's super funds first up. More infrastructure projects apparently to invest in with more secure outcomes. That's what they're telling us. Is this right?
Let's wait and see.
Yeah.
Those infrastructure projects can go either way as well.
Well, look what happened.
I hear that, and that's great. But there's been a few bundles in terms of infrastructure projects in the past. They're not as secure as what they once were.
And there was a thing last night we were talking about contributions to the super funds too. They've sort of eased back a little bit on. They're not going to be quite as harsh if you overpay. Which is a good thing, at least.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think part of that is, basically saying, they're giving the opportunity for, I suppose, people 50 and above to be able to be able to contribute enough before they get retirement to be able to live off it. So, look, all up, it's not bad. And I suppose, from that point of view, you can say it's a winner in this budget. Yeah.
Mate, if I retire tomorrow, I could live on my super fund for a year.
God.
That's a whole year.
You can spend $5 million a year. Jeez, Walter. Oh, mate, you have got a lifestyle.
You haven't seen me shopping. You should see my producer Jamie shopping.
You haven't been reading my books, have you? Mate, $5 million should be able to last you at least 3 lifetimes.
You think so?
Yeah, absolutely.
So. I wish, mate. Unfortunately, in my working life, super didn't actually come in until I'd already been in the workforce for a few years. The compulsory super thing. And I wished I'd been contributing myself when I was younger, but that's when you're bulletproof, isn't it?
Not only that, there wasn't enough education about it, and although it was introduced, it wasn't well known. Most people just used to think of it as a pain in the butt that your employer just took out 3% at the time. It started off with 3%, and then it sort of started shifting upward. So it was a different game.
Yeah.
So I don't blame him for not having a lot, but probably a good idea to start looking at that.
And gee, a lot of people copped a hit during the GFC on their super.
Oh yeah.
Oh, painful.
Oh yeah.
I've heard a lot of horror stories.
Yeah.
People have virtually gone back to work because they can't afford to stay retired. The super got knocked about so badly. Now, moving on, unemployed are on the winners list. 233 million is going to get the long-term unemployed back into the workforce. Yeah, I don't know if they'll see it as winners, because I'm sure they were quite happy sitting on the couch watching the TV, smoking and drinking.
I suppose it depends who we talk about, but yeah. Look, I'll tell you what I like about the employment side of it. $3 billion to training packages to expand Australia's skilled workforce. Not bad. Very, very good, yeah. I'd like to see the detail of where it's going, etc. 130,000 new training places over 4 years per apprentice. Very good. We need apprentices here in Australia.
They're going to spend over $100 million on that national mentoring program for apprentices, aren't they?
Yeah. Absolutely. So I think that's the winner there, and I think it's what Labor governments traditionally do pretty well with that side of it. I mean, giving them credit on that side, they will usually spend it on that training and upskilling, particularly in the trade sort of side of things, which isn't bad. Health, we're talking about health, $3.4 billion over 4 years.
3.4 billion.
Yeah.
Not bad. And 1.5 of those we mentioned earlier, extra funding for the mentally ill. That's a good thing.
Yeah. And that's an area where, I've been privy to that area because, I've actually had, friends of mine that have been sort of, been affected in that zone, and it's missing. I think it's a vital part of how we need to support that type of sickness or that type of condition in Australia, and we haven't done it properly. So I think that's a step in the right direction.
One that didn't get much coverage today, the POWs, the Australian Prisoners of War, will get $500 a fortnight benefits boost.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. at least we're beginning to acknowledge it. Yeah, I agree. It's a great idea. Yeah.
And for the low-paid workers, it's not much, but the $300 a year of the low-income tax offset to go into pay packets from July. So what's that? 80-odd cents a day.
Yeah. Don't do much, but yeah.
Like they said on Gary Hargrave's Drive Show this afternoon, if you save it up, you'll be able to buy a McDonald's meal, a burger at the end of the week.
And I'll tell you what gets to me about when they start talking hundreds of millions or 50 million or all the rest of it, that if you look carefully at what they blew when the GFC came in, like $5 billion on the what was it, the schools hall project, $2.5 billion on the BATS project, you know. I think we could have distributed that money a lot better. And, I mean, obviously hindsight's 20/20, but we could have done so much with it.
Well, they inherited a huge amount of money after the Howard government went out, and that's all gone, and then some. Students with disabilities looking okay. They get an extra $200 million out of this, which is good to see it going in that direction. And in the bush, you mentioned health. Well, $4.3 billion of investment in regional hospitals, healthcare, unis and roads.
Awesome.
That's good. The country needs that.
Well needed and well deserved.
Oh, yeah. Have you driven around some of the New South Wales roads lately?
Yeah.
Oh, they're horrible.
Question for you on this budget. What do you think the foreign aid, close to 700 million aid over 4 years?
Yeah, they're boosting that, aren't they? By $500 million. Yeah,
I'll tell you my view on that, and I'm not, obviously it's a controversial area.
Yep.
I'm all for helping out, in foreign aid. I agree with it. But Australia's had a pretty tough year, particularly Queensland with the flood, Victoria with the flood. I think we've had a pretty tough year, and it wouldn't be a bad idea to have pushed it back into the country. Because I always say, let's help ourselves first, and then, obviously when our economy and our people are correct, let's all contribute out.
Yeah.
Because Australians are very generous with that. When they're doing okay, they're probably one of the biggest per capita, donators out there.
Well, it just shows you how they're not listening to what's been talked about on Talkback Radio this year. Foreign aid, that is one of the big issues. Every time we mention that, people get up in arms about the amount of money that has been given away by this country overseas. Yeah. And people get incensed about it.
Yeah.
And rightly so. It's up to $4.84 billion now, foreign aid. It's ridiculous. Finally, tradies do out okay with the first $5,000 of the cost of a work vehicle now written off by small business. That's a good thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, again, well deserved. They've had it tough lately,
They have.
They have had it tough.
They have had it tough.
Oh, yeah, mate. With the new housing starts and everything going down so much, I think, any little bit can help in that way.
There's a lot of tradies doing it real rough right now.
Yeah.
Some are picking up. But Wilson, it's been great chatting with you again, as always.
Yeah, ditto, mate. Really enjoyed tonight.
Wilson Luna, talking Your Family, Your Money with us. We're looking at the winners and the losers out of last night's federal budget for 2011. Mate, we'll catch up with you next week on the show.
Cheers, champion. Bye-bye, mate.
You take care.